You have been through hell.
She's a Lifetime movie just waiting to happen.
You are.
That's what all my friends are like, you need to write a book. Please write a book, Linda.
You're listening to the Nacho Kids Podcast, where we discuss all things step-family related. Real stories, real people, real help. Your hosts are the creators of the Nacho Kids Method and the Nacho Kids Academy Step-Family Coaching Team, Lori and David Sims.
Welcome to episode 139 of the Nacho Kids Podcast. Stop laughing, David. Why is that so funny to you?
I don't know. It's the little things in life.
All right, you say it.
No, I'm good.
Well, if you're going to make fun of me, then you're going to start saying it.
I can not say it and still make fun of you.
I'm going to find somebody else to do this. Any volunteers?
Anybody want to take my place?
Somebody that won't laugh at me?
Oh, so you just ruled everybody out when you said that?
I know. I'm like, I laugh at me. I have to rule myself out.
Oh, all right. So guess what?
What?
You and I are going on an all expense paid by us vacation.
Where are we going, David?
We are going to the land of the lakes. And no, I'm not talking about up there. I'm talking about Lake Lure, North Carolina,
Woo-hoo.
where they filmed Dirty Dancing.
That's right.
Yep, the first one, not the remake.
We haven't been anywhere in a long time, it seems.
I know. I can't even think of the last time we went somewhere.
Last time I remember going anywhere was Texas, pre-COVID.
That's probably the last time we went somewhere together.
Well, I'm a bit scared.
Why are you scared?
'Cause I'm afraid you're going to push me down the mountain.
Why would I push you down a mountain?
I don't know why you do the things you do.
Look, I didn't push you down the last time we went to the mountains.
You didn't stop me from falling.
No, but I laughed when you did.
I did too. So we're crossing this creek, and David's a good 8 inches or so taller than I am. So, of course, he has longer legs. So I think, oh, I can reach that far. Well, I reached.
You reached with your foot?
and my foot hit the rock, and then boom.
Well, you picked a rock that had like slimy moss or something all over it. So it's like stepping on a piece of ice.
I was just trying to cross the same place you did.
But you fell so gracefully.
In my head, it was slow motion. It was like, oh, boom.
It was slow motion. And like, I probably could have caught you, but I was so busy going, this is going to be hilarious, that I couldn't even reach out for you.
You lie. You were afraid I was going to hit my head.
I was afraid you were hitting your head because you didn't just like fall down flat on your butt. You fell down and like sprawled out. Like you would have thought you fell from 40 feet up. Just laying there with your leg behind you.
Well, I fell. Sorry, it wasn't pretty.
But then you didn't even try to get up. Like, I'm like, get up, honey. You're like,
because I was already wet. I wasn't getting any wetter.
Yes, you were.
How? I was already wet.
Because it was not deep at all. Like, it was an inch deep. And
right.
So you're just getting wet on your butt. And I'm like, if you don't get up, it's eventually going to have so much water, it's going to get on your sides and the front and everything else.
Because I made the water rise?
Exactly.
No!
So, but then we proceed to leave this park area. You know, we have to walk back down the mountain. And it was rather jungle-like as if we were coming out of there. It's kind of weird. But then you fail like 3 more times. It's like, what is wrong with you?
I was weighed down by the water in my jeans.
I've got pictures of it. Like, you got to the point where you couldn't even walk because you were just laughing so much at how you were falling, like every few steps. Like, I promise you, folks, she's not been drinking.
Nope, I hadn't been. I'm just glad I didn't get hurt.
Yeah, I was definitely glad of that. So, but then, we had to cut our day a little bit short because I had to take you back to our place to change clothes and thaw out because it was cold.
That is why I always get somewhere that has a washing machine and dryer. And I always take an extra pair of shoes.
Yeah, but I'm sitting there going, I don't know that I want you to get your wet hiney in here on my seats in my car.
It was my car. What are you talking about? It was my car.
Okay.
You obviously don't remember as much as you think you do.
I don't remember the car.
It was
But
my car because I had stuff in the back seat that I sat on.
Okay. I don't remember which vehicle we drove, but I do remember you falling repeatedly.
Well, then don't be making up. I didn't want you to get my car. See, that's like the story of how we met. You just add stuff.
It's because our memories sometimes don't serve us well.
Yeah, a.k.a. David makes up crap.
It's not like I was like, let me just make up what car we were riding in. We
Well-
almost always take my car. So I figured we probably did that time. But you say we didn't.
Were we in your car? I'm kidding. I don't know. Now you got me questioning myself. This is what
See?
happens.
I'm gaslighting you.
Oh. Okay.
No, I don't remember. I thought it was my car. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It's not really important to the story.
Yeah, so why did you bring it up, David?
To prove it's not important to the story. I don't know why I brought it up. All right. So let's get to our guest today before I come down there and make you fall.
See? That's why I'm scared, y'all.
All right. So if we don't have an episode come out after this one, you know she fell down the mountain.
You know he pushed me down the mountain.
I don't have to push you. You'll fall on your own. I'm more worried about
Hey.
you grabbing me as you go down.
My name should have been Grace.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Okay. Our guest today is Stepmom Linda.
Linda.
Linda,
Yeah.
honey.
Honey, listen.
Honey.
Yeah. I did that to her. But you know she hears it all the time. But anyway, that's
Yeah.
a funny video.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about Linda.
Linda. Linda is a stepmom of 3, has been blending 3 years, and she has little to no contact with the stepkids.
Wow.
The stepkids are 21, 19, and 10. She has 2 bio kids, bio daughter 20 and bio daughter 13, and she doesn't have contact with them either.
There's a story behind that.
Yeah, there's a big story behind this, and I'm not going to tell you a lot because you need to hear it from her. There is a disclaimer. There is mention of abuse in this podcast interview. So if that is a trigger for you or you have little ears around, do not listen to this where they can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say that I'm so glad that Linda shared her story with us because, y'all, she has went through hell and back. And I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
And she has not only survived, but she is alive and she is still pushing forward after experiencing parental alienation with her own kids and even her stepkids.
Mm-hmm. Like extreme alienation.
Yes, that's all I'm saying about that.
Okay, then. Well, let's get into the interview, and then we'll wrap it up in the end.
Okie dokie.
All right, but first, here's a word about the Nacho Kids Academy.
There is a way to save your sanity and your relationship, and it's called the Nacho Kids Academy. In the Nacho Kids Academy, you will learn the skills and knowledge to properly nacho, techniques to handle step-family challenges, ways to improve your communication, and much, much more. Visit NachoKidsAcademy.com and sign up today to join other step-parents who are seeing the life-changing benefits of nachoing. Again, that's NachoKidsAcademy.com.
Today we have stepmom Linda. Hey, Linda, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Linda, listen, Linda.
That is the cutest thing.
I know.
I know.
I haven't watched it in a while. I need to go back and see it. That kid's probably like 20 years old now.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's kind of like the one, Mommy, Charlie bit my finger.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. What was that? That was like 15 years ago. I love that one.
I know. He's so cute.
I know it.
Yeah. One day they'll be on the like some special. Where are they now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm going to go, wow, I'm really old.
I'm already
Yeah.
saying that.
We try not to talk about that on here.
We're not going to discuss age.
Yes. Age is only a number.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm the new 30.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm just going to keep moving it for my, what works for me, I think.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
I love it. Well, you've been blending 3 years.
Yeah.
And how many step kids and bio kids do you have?
3 steps and 2 bio.
Okay. And you've got, I don't know any other way to phrase this, but kind of a sad story.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much a good way to phrase it. Yeah.
Well, don't worry. David will surely throw in some hilarious comments.
Or inappropriate comments.
That's fine. You got to lighten it up sometimes.
Yeah, he lightens it up a little too much sometimes. So tell us a little bit about your relationship with your bio kids.
So I have 2 bio kids, both daughters. One is now 20 and one is 13. Their father and I, we were married for 20 years. And it became that marriage was definitely done long before it was done, if you know what I'm saying. Like it was over before we were out of it. And it was abusive on a bunch of different levels. I have not seen my children. February makes 5 years. The last time I saw them, my kids were 8 and 15. In that time, I went through that divorce homeless. I was living in my car. He drained the bank accounts. Got through that and got myself divorced, worked on myself, did a lot of healing, a lot of therapy, just a lot of recentering everything about me and trying to return to who I was. And, life for me personally, as a person, things were getting better, but the fighting about the kids, that never has gotten any better. I am obviously now remarried and relocated. So those things do complicate. The relocation definitely makes things harder when it comes to my bio kids because we live in very far away from each other. But it doesn't mean that I don't still fight. So
when you and your ex split up and you were going through all this crap, you were homeless, he had drained the bank account, were you seeing your kids then?
No, that I'm going to have to be really raw and honest here. I don't think a lot of people discuss this. That in the 3 years leading up to when we split, so we split in 2017. And in the 3 years leading up to that, I started getting really sick. I developed a seizure disorder that was just late onset and they weren't sure why. I was having 5, 6, 7, sometimes 10 seizures a month.
Oh, gosh.
I have been an educator for 17 years. I taught high school and I taught college and I have 2 masters. So not to be like tooting my horn, but I had a plan for my life and goals and things I was trying to achieve. This destroyed all of that for sure. Destroyed everything, destroyed my cognitive function, my memory. A lot of those things are gone and they have never recovered.
Aww.
And in that time of the seizures and everything, we had dealt with infidelity. So there was a lot of infidelity on his part. And he's the kind of person that he enjoys attention, and having a sick wife gets you a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some control issues as well. And then there was just a lot of abuse, and a lot of abuse that was occurring while I would be unconscious. So in the end, what it boiled down to was he put me in shock therapy.
Oh, gosh.
And he had me on many, many, many medications. I think at the last count, it was like 17 drugs. And I don't even think I was human at the end there. I really don't think I was human, but I was tired of it. I was really tired of it. I was making a plan to escape. He was definitely monitoring everything when it came to email, phone, any of those things. I think he knew this. And then on the night of February 26th, 2017, there was a really bad altercation between us. And I was at the bottom of the stairs and he had called the cops and they arrested me and they took me to jail. And I went to jail and he left me there for 3 months. I kind of reached like all the time I could do, so it just became a time served thing. But the legal system takes a very long time. And of course, my kids were in the house when this happened. So obviously there was a no contact order, which I understand the legal standpoint of all these things. There's so many things more to this than legally, how the justice system defines this. There's so much more. But I knew I was going to have to wait those things out. I did a lot of therapy. I took a lot of classes. They made me take a lot of different classes. check in with the doctor. I had to tour prison, so I'd be terrified, going to prison, do drug tests, all this. It took about 18 months to get that case to where it was resolved, time served, and closed.
Wow.
So in that 18 months, you can imagine that 18 months of no contact can definitely give the other parent who does have contact time to rewrite history.
Yes.
And that's what we dealt with. I did everything that was asked of me, everything that the court wanted me to do. And I had an attorney. I was actually, my public defender was very good friends with an attorney. This attorney helped me, took on my case, helped me get divorced at least. I was also going through my disability case as well, because I was still having a lot of seizures. I would sleep in my car at the ER parking lot just in case, because I didn't have anywhere to go. At the time I was arrested, we had only moved there 6 months prior. I didn't know anyone. And honestly, I'd had so many seizures that I probably couldn't have told you what street I lived on. I didn't know much. And then shock therapy does very bad things for your memory. So, it was just the worst of the worst. But my only goal was I just wanted to figure out a way to repair myself so that I could heal with my children. And I just wanted the opportunity for that. And by doing the therapy and taking classes, and, I finally got myself an apartment and just did so many things that were just so much better for me. I prayed that the courts would see those things and then begin some type of reunification plan. And that's what I've been fighting for since then, with zero success, no cooperation from the other end, and just a lot of money spent.
So when you got arrested, was that the night of the altercation?
Yeah. Yep.
So I take it this was back before they had I guess it's a law, David, you probably know more than I do about it, where if there is an altercation, where both people get arrested.
My state, if I can say the state.
That's fine.
If that's all right. Okay. South Carolina doesn't necessarily, that's not how they do it. Had I been just about 30 minutes away and lived in Georgia, then yes, it would have been both of us. Also, at the time that the paramedics showed up and the cops, because the paramedics had to come, I was unconscious. So I don't know a whole lot of what transpired in that time when I was at the bottom of the stairs there.
Mm-hmm.
It started at the top of the stairs. I know that much. I was 2 days out of my most recent shock therapy session. So, which is also called ECT. I can call it that too, but people understand what shock therapy is, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And, but anyway, it was so spotty what was going on. It was like opening and closing your eyes. Like there'd be a little bit of understanding and then just gone, and then come back to, and then gone. So that transpired while I wasn't conscious. I'm not sure of. Knowing how much I know him, I can pretty much guess at how that all went down. So, and this campaign sort of against me had started in the several months prior. And I see I learned a lot of things a couple years later that made things clear to me. I didn't know at the time, but he was in an affair that had been going on for a long time. And with that woman, he had already made it known to her that he did not want to go through a divorce. He didn't want to lose anything. He didn't want to lose money or any assets or anything. And that what he was kind of hoping for was that either I'd be sick enough and die, or that I would do the job myself.
Oh my gosh.
And so I didn't know that at the time, but when I look back now, some pieces make sense. The behavior and the changes and things make sense now. At the time, it was utter confusion, just complete confusion. So, yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely been difficult. While I was in jail, the mistress he had at the time, she lived in a different state. And about 10 days after I was arrested and I was still in jail, she came to the house. And then from there, they just made their plans for her to move in. And then they were engaged. And all of that happened before any divorce was ever even filed. So.
And you have no idea what your kids have been told?
Zero. I know nothing. I don't know what they've been told. I will take that back on a tiny level. So my oldest daughter graduated in 2020. So the year of COVID, it was difficult. I live in Idaho. and they live in South Carolina. And about a month prior to her graduation, and at that point, so at 2020, May of 2020, I had not had any contact, not heard their voices, not seen their faces, nothing since February 26th of 2017. And I got her graduation announcement in the mail, and I was blown away. And I just knew no matter how it went down, I had to be there. Like, I want her to look back years from now and go, wow, even though all those things we did and how much we pushed away Mom, but she showed up. She was there. And I didn't know if I would see her, talk to her. I didn't know if I'd see my ex. I didn't know if it would be dangerous. I didn't know, but I was going to go, and I did. I flew across the country. I went to her graduation. It was outside. I watched it. And at the end of that ceremony, when she came off the football field, she did see me, and she broke down, and I broke down. And I had 9 minutes before my ex called the cops. So I had 9 minutes to try to apologize, tell her how much I love her. I miss her. I will never quit. None of that will ever change. Her feelings are valid. I just was doing everything I could just to open the door a teeny tiny bit. And she had been told through our conversation, which I thankfully recorded because false accusations and things. She had been told that I was going to kidnap her and her younger sister. The school resource officer, the cop at the school, basically did tell me that, the whole school staff had been notified that I was to never be at the school, never to ask for the children, that I was dangerous. He called the cops and told them that I had a restraining order and I was violating it. And that was false. And so I did have an encounter with the cops. They ran my name. They said, there's nothing, you're not doing anything wrong. And they made him aware of that as well. But it traumatized me. It traumatized my daughter, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And she certainly does believe that I don't want anything to do with her. While I've been fighting for my younger child, my older daughter had aged out. She was already 18 and I can't fight any longer in court. And she said the only reason, I waited until she was 18 because I only wanted my younger daughter and not her. Oh, gosh. And that's not true, obviously. She told me that, because of me, that she had been very depressed, that she wanted to take her life. It was a lot of crying, and I know a lot of confusion, and that's all I had. I had 9 minutes. I had 9 minutes before the cops showed up. So, and that was the last we've ever had contact, was June of 2020.
So who sent you the invitation?
She did. She filled it. It's her handwriting, and she filled it out and she sent it to me, which I took as a positive thing. Mm-hmm. And I thanked her very much for sending it to me and just how much that meant to me. And I was so pleased with that. I assured her I am not in any way about to just walk right back in and just, take over or try to pick up where we left off, nothing like that. I would go at her pace, however she needed, if she had questions, whatever she wanted. That's how we would do it. But I made sure that I really did appreciate that she sent me that.
Have you talked to her since?
No, nothing. Mm-mm. I'm not allowed to have their phone numbers. I'm blocked on every social media. If I send mail, I'm threatened with the cops. I'm threatened that I'm harassing them. They're constantly threatening to get law enforcement involved, that I've never done all the things that was required of me, that I have to go back through the courts. And those things are not true, but it doesn't make it any easier to fight because they will figure out a way to wrap you up with attorney fees and all kinds of stuff as well.
So your daughter, the oldest one, she's saying to the police that she doesn't want you to contact her?
She never has said that to the police. No.
His dad.
No. That was the ex, her father.
Okay. But he can't, at 20 years old, he can't say you can't contact her.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the cops made sure that they let him know that. She was 18 at the time, and they told him she's 18 and she can have contact with her mother if she wants. She can do whatever she wants. She's an adult now. You cannot control her, and made sure that I understood that. And I do. However, she still lives in his house.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's afraid of the
repercussions.
repercussions.
My youngest is there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's...
Do you think that there might be some contact from her once she's moved out from him?
It's possible. It is possible that once she's not right there under his thumb and listening to him and his new wife, that she may, for herself, decide I would like to at least ask my mom some questions.
Mm-hmm. Well, you would be able, I'm assuming you would be able to reach out to her if you know how to find her at that point without worrying about him so much. I mean, I'm sure he'll still cut up like Cheetah, but there's nothing he can do at that point.
Mm-hmm. If she moves out and am ever made aware that she has moved out, then I most definitely will figure out a way to reach out in the safest way for her. Whatever makes her feel the safest, I will do. I know that when she's under his roof, that's not going to go well, and she will suffer, and so will my younger daughter.
Right. And he's probably monitoring her Facebook and everything else too.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. And they make a lot of fake profiles to harass me. I'm actually right now in the middle of a bit of an issue. The new wife, she's in the medical profession, and she has been kind of stalking and harassing me. And now she's calling businesses, and she's sharing my personal health information with my disabilities and things like that. And so now we are in the middle of that.
Okay. I've got a few things to say.
Okay.
First of all, the family court system sucks.
Yes.
We know this. And it angers me.
Yeah.
Secondly, I am so proud of you for going to her graduation, even though you only had 9 minutes. I think that was tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And thirdly, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
And fourthly, hang on, I hope you bust her butt.
I'm geared to ask a question that might get you there.
Okay.
This personal health information that she's sharing, how is she coming about this information?
Her sister was my doctor.
Okay. So then what you do is you go to...
Well, tell her some background to how you know this stuff.
All right.
So she don't just think you're making crap up.
In another life, my day job, I get paid to do consulting around medical healthcare HIPAA compliance and stuff like that. Okay. So I'm not in the medical field. I'm in the IT field, but I do a ton of consulting around HIPAA. So
okay, I got you.
Obviously, what you're talking about is a violation of HIPAA compliance, but you're going to have to track that back. Now, is it a violation for her?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. It's probably if she's getting it from the doctor sister, I think you said.
Yeah, her sister was my physician there in South Carolina.
Right.
And she is a nurse, and she and my ex work in the same facility. Mm-hmm. And even during the divorce, so I have her recorded phone call relaying this information to a business. They felt it was very sketchy, and she probably didn't realize that she was recorded. Mm-hmm. And so they gave us the phone number and released it to law enforcement as well. And then in addition to that, I have a lot of, I have handwritten stuff from her that she's left in my storage unit. I have emails. I have screenshots where she's admitting to my friends that she has looked at my medical history. She has looked through my medical record. She has gone through my personal journals. She's looking for someone to side with her. Mm-hmm. And all this has been turned over to the governing agency in South Carolina.
Well, we can talk more about this off the air here, but you can file a complaint with HHS, which is the Department of Health and Human Services. They have a division called OCR, which is the Office for Civil Rights. Office for Civil Rights. Yes, that's what
I submitted it to that. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
So they'll do an investigation, which is a federal violation, and it can also be criminal. If they get the DOJ involved, then it becomes a criminal suit. But OCR will investigate, and then they can take action at a federal level.
Yeah. Yeah. We know that it's malicious. It's all just malicious intent. I've never met her, never even spoken to her, but she has, since I even knew who she was, because she's actually the second affair. So the affair that was occurring while I was in jail, that woman moved to South Carolina, and then he began this other affair with the nurse at his work. And so then the first affair, they got engaged, and then she actually fled back to her state because of his behavior. And then this woman kind of stepped in, and she has harassed the first woman quite a bit as well. With me, it has never stopped. I can only imagine that a lot of this comes from my ex and it's being fueled and a lot of that stuff. So,
well, of course it is, but you're not even involved in their life. They're keeping you involved in their life. It's like they're consumed to try to destroy you.
That's exactly what they want. That's exactly what he wants. That's what she wants. She has tried to be friends with all of my friends, on social media, try to find people to talk bad about me to. She writes to people. She calls people. It doesn't end.
How does she have time for all? How do either one of them have time?
I know. I don't know. And a lot of it, I think, does happen while she's at work. So we're also looking at things from that angle as well to see if that crosses lines.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
I hope you burn her a new one.
Well, this is it's a tactic and a technique that people use to cause other people to not want to push back, because it's a bullying technique. And so it's you're pushing somebody and you push them, and at some point you feel like you're so powerless that you just don't do anything. And that's what they're doing. I mean,
you're terrified because, one, I will say that I am definitely very remorseful for how things went at the end, from the things I can even remember. A lot of my brain is it's not there. It just doesn't exist anymore. I can't even tap into some of those things, but I feel very badly for my children to watch me go downhill so quickly in the 3 years prior, starting to get sick. They know me as the mom who took them everywhere. I was a teacher. I edited newspaper. I directed plays. I coached cheerleading. I did all these things. And then I'm just a mom who can't function anymore. And I hate that for them. And that would be my one wish, is that they know this was never anything that I wanted to happen, not my intention. And I do wholeheartedly feel terrible about all of that for them emotionally, and just they're in their maturity and growing and developmentally. Just, it's tough. It's really tough. I come from a horrible childhood, so I never wanted that for them. And I had to try to deal with the shame of being arrested. Once you say you've ever been arrested, you're not human anymore. You're something else now to people, and everything changes. I lost pretty much all of my friends. I didn't have any family to start with, so I was already alone there. But dealing with the shame is a huge power button. It's just, if they can keep me feeling ashamed, then I won't fight. I won't push. I won't talk. They want me to never speak. If I even talk about missing my kids, if I put a picture of my kids on social media and how much I miss them, and that I'm not getting any cooperation after going through mediation last year, they start reporting it to my lawyer, and how I'm going to be in contempt and I'm violating these things. I'm talking about my feelings, my story, my side, what I live. It's, the facts lay where the facts lay. And I'm not out here trying to hide these things. It's just that shame is what keeps you in a box for a long, long time. And I think I'm finally getting to the point where I'm working on forgiving myself and getting better, making the future better, instead of just staying in this scared, very guilty, shameful spot of the past.
Well, I know we're only getting a snippet of what happened, but I don't feel like you should feel ashamed, because you were having medical issues and he took advantage of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like he had you tortured so you couldn't remember and you couldn't act normal for the purpose of all this.
Yeah. I feel it was definitely a lot of it was orchestrated. And looking back, I can see some of those things when you're having a lot of seizures and you're on a lot of medication, and then you're doing ECT, which shock therapy is just another seizure. It's just they're medically doing it to you under anesthesia. Gosh, it just messes with your mind so much and your memory so much. Being able to understand things, you can't hold information. So yeah, that definitely made things so much worse. And I feel like I'm not even sure who I was at that time. And that's sad.
So with everything that you've gone through, I mean, I'm sure other people would too, but I would wonder, how did you not sink into just complete despair?
Yeah. I don't know. There's been a lot of time in my life where my depression has really gotten the best of me. You know, I have had times I have tried to take my exit. My ex had a lot to do with that, I think. But there's just always been something in me that says, this isn't the end. And you've survived a bunch of other stuff before this, and this is pretty bad. But we're going to just get through the next hour.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I approached the whole, once I was released from jail up until ending the criminal case and getting it out of the way. It was just, okay, I'm just going to get through an hour and I'm going to revisit, and I'm going to get through an hour and I'm going to try again. You know, sleeping in the car and being cold and starving. I did eventually get into a shelter, and I just tried to use the resources. I don't know. I just didn't want to quit. Like, I was exhausted, and I wanted to say I was exhausted, and I was tired, and I was depressed, and I was sad, but I just didn't want to quit yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think really just thinking about my two girls is what at the end of every hour, when I want to, you know, do I want to keep going on or not? It's thinking about my daughters, because I want them to grow up to be women who are strong and can handle things. And they may never want to see me again or have anything to do with me again, but I want them to at least say, but my mom she kept trying, she kept going. It may have destroyed the relationship, but you know, she was really tough. She was hanging in there and trying to be strong. I want them to learn something about strength.
Well, I applaud you. I feel like we should clap because
I'll clap.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm serious because
Thank you.
I'm sitting here thinking of everything you've been through. And I can relate to it in a way because my sister was alienated from her daughter. And she died after not seeing her daughter for 11 years, I think it was.
Goodness.
And the daughter reached out to us last year, I think it was, because she was out from up under the grandmother's thumb and the bio dad's thumb.
Yeah.
She even posted, you know, happy birthday to my mom in heaven. So it killed my sister. And I'm not exaggerating, because she turned to drugs. Yeah. She turned to people that abused her because she just needed somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bio dad would message her and say, I'm going to bring your daughter to see you. You know, he lived a couple of hours away or so, and she would get dressed and put on makeup and everything, and she would sit and wait all day long.
Oh, well, he would call her and say, we just got off the interstate. We'll be there in 35 minutes or whatever.
Just never show. And just keep calling her 2 or 3 times. We're almost there, blah, 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 blah. And never show up.
He tortured
that
her.
Just rips your heart out. It's so, and when there's no communication from the other side, you're left with your own mind and your own thoughts. And those can go to bad places. And eventually, I mean, you're just thinking, it's me then. Like, it's got to be me. It has to be me. It's me. But you don't know the other side. And that would just be, I think, in the beginning, if my girls ever wanted it, is just, can we just have a conversation? I'll answer anything you want to know and be truthful about it. I think they probably have a lot of questions. I imagine they have a lot of questions. I know my own mother gave me away when I was 7, and I just recently did the ancestry DNA, and my dad is not my dad. So
oh my gosh.
It's, you know, I know that pain, and then you can carry that little child in you forever. Like, the little girl in me is still so sad and hurt over my own family not wanting me. And I just don't want my daughters to ever think I don't want you. Because I do more than anything. I do. And I'm a person, and I'm learning, and I'm growing, and I can commit to trying my very, very best and getting better. That's when you know better, you do better. And that's just what I'm trying to do.
Man, ancestry DNA is messing up a bunch of people's lives, I think.
I'm scared to do it.
Yeah. I always had suspicions because they gave me away when I was little, and there was very just strange things surrounding it. And my mother was very, 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 very cruel. She made it known she didn't love me. She did not care about me. She wasn't proud of me. And I just thought something is weird, like something is weird. So I finally did it. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? But it answers some questions for me though. So I guess in that respect, it's good.
Do you know who your biological father is now?
I do. He has passed away. My mother's passed away, and my dad, the one that I knew, has also passed away. I won't get any more answers, but I have connected with siblings now.
Oh, great.
Mm-hmm. And I did know him. I knew him as a child, and we always referred to him as Uncle. And, he would spoil me whenever I would come back. So my parents lived in Delaware, and they sent me to live in Alaska. And anytime I'd come back to Delaware, my uncle would always come and see me and kind of, make sure to like take me for some pizza, bring me some money and all these little things. I thought, I'm just the luckiest because he likes me the best. But that was my dad.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I'm sitting here with my mouth half open.
I'm sorry.
No, you have been through hell.
She's a Lifetime movie just waiting to happen.
You are.
That's what all my friends are like. You need to write a book. Please write a book, Linda. Write a book or something.
Oh, and we hadn't even got into half of it, David.
I know.
I know we hadn't even. That's what I was about to ask. Is are we ready to switch to how she?
Yeah.
How did you possibly meet somebody
in Idaho?
Yeah. I mean, okay. So, So in my mind, we've kind of left off with you in the parking lot sleeping in your car. How did that transition to now I met this other guy and I want to be in a step family?
He was cleaning the parking lot.
Right.
I'm kidding.
Well,
she had an Obama phone, and so she was able to get on Match.com.
Right. Oh goodness. Well, so how it kind of transpired was I was during my divorce. So during the divorce, I was dealing with the criminal process that we were closing out. I was dealing with the divorce. I was dealing with, of course, since the children were in the house at the time, so DSS was involved. I was dealing with them. And I was also dealing with my disability case and had an attorney that was helping me with that. And so going through all those things, I stayed in a shelter, a couple of shelters actually. And then eventually I was able to get a little apartment kind of based off of my disability income. So that gave me some stability there. I, was, like I said, doing a lot of work with therapy and things like that. And then just trying to finish up as many of these things as possible so I could kind of move on to the next things. Mm-hmm. And we got the criminal case done. And then a month later, the divorce was finalized. And I lived in the same state as them, but I had moved to a different area so I could be further away. Mm-hmm. It just was probably better for everybody. And after the divorce was final, I just decided I don't know what I need. I need to get out of here a little bit. I need to kind of reconnect with myself. I need to travel a bit and see some things. And so I started just driving around the country. And I was meeting up with friends that I hadn't seen since we graduated high school back in Alaska many 2-3 years ago. And just meeting up with friends and stuff. And I ended up in this tiny town in Texas and hung out there for a while. And I kind of hung out and kind of just got stuck. Like, well, I don't really got to go anywhere. So I just hang out. And I started waitressing in the daytime at this little bar just for something to do because I became friends with the owners. And anyway, the guy that I'm married to now, he was there on a job and they would come in, him and the guys would come in all the time. And so that's how we kind of started talking and exchanged numbers. And then he went home to Idaho and then went on to the next job in another state. And so I kept traveling and driving and we ended up kind of linking back up, spending more time together. And he was just wonderful. He was just so I thought I'm going to feel ridiculous if I don't try this because this is about the healthiest, most wonderful, happiest, most loved I have felt. And until that, I was like, dating. Yeah, that's all right. I'm going to get some cats. I want to have cats and books and things, and I'm good. I'm fine. So I was caught off guard by it, but that's how we met.
So I got this visual of you in a car with the windows rolled down, your arms out the window. You're doing that little thing, where your hand goes up and down in the wind. And you're going, I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man.
Yes. It was a lot like that. And my friends, my friends on social media, every day I'd get little messages or somebody text me, where are you at today? where are you going today, Linda?
Yeah, it's
Where
like all of a sudden they're like, you know what? Can we live vicariously through you? This is-
right,
You know, sometimes not having any place to go is pretty awesome.
Yes, yeah,
I had
absolutely.
a friend similar to that.
It was freeing.
She was driving to Colorado and had a mission. She was going to go out there and stay with somebody and decided to go see some friends in New Mexico. And next thing you know, she stayed in New Mexico. She's like, I'll just stay here.
Right, this is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of, I don't know, I was feeling a little bit like a gypsy and I was enjoying it. And I controlled my day. I controlled my day, my health, my mind. All of these things were back in my control now. And that felt really, really good. And I wanted to experience joy.
Mm-hmm.
I had it in years and years. I had not, other than watching my children, all the things that they were doing, of course, always brings every parent joy.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted it for myself too. And that's kind of what I was looking for. And that's what I was getting.
For as much as I dislike social media, if it weren't for that, you would not be able to know anything your kids are doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could see anything they were doing now, but I can't. I'm blocked everywhere.
Yeah. But you weren't blocked at the time. How did you?
I was. Yeah.
You was? Okay. I misunderstood.
You was.
Yeah.
You was.
Well, I misunderstood somewhere because you said you were able to understand what they were doing, what your kids were doing.
Yeah. Prior to the end there, prior to getting arrested and never seeing them again.
Oh,
prior to that, just, watching them in school and activities and sports and things.
Okay, I
and
got
all
you.
their little interests. Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking you were able to kind of keep up with them through social media, not communicate, but just kind of see what's going on with them.
Yeah.
But no, you weren't able to do that.
No. No. So.
Oh, well.
So that is how I met my husband.
And he has 3 kids.
He has 3, 2 older and then 1 little one. So there's 2 bio moms there for them. And like I said, he lives in Idaho and I lived in the South. And then we just kind of made the decision that neither one of us wanted to do long distance. And so we made the choice that I would relocate.
He didn't want to move in your car with you?
Right? Like, you don't love this little tiny car. I don't know why. So,
I'll give you the trunk.
1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
Honey, I love you. Here's the keys to my car.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Come visit
Come
anytime.
over when you want.
I'll be in
Right.
parking lot. It's number 3.
Yeah, I've upgraded to the Walmart from the ER now, so it's better.
Yes. Okay, so he's got 3 kids.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you moved to Idaho.
Yep.
And I take it his kids live in Idaho.
Yes. Or at that time, a few years ago, yes. 2 older ones now live in Texas. Their mother relocated down there and they followed months afterwards.
Okay, and they are how old?
21 and 19.
Okay. And then the youngest, does the youngest live in Idaho?
Yes. She lives just about like 20 minutes away. Mm-hmm.
And how often does he see them?
The older ones, obviously, they don't live here any longer, so they don't see each other. The younger one, it has definitely declined in seeing her. Well, one, he does work mostly away from home on the road. He's in the oil field, but obviously a lot of jobs in the oil field kind of decreased here in the last year. So he's home more, but he would work away from home most of the time. So they all kind of knew that, like, Dad is always gone. And then when he's home for a while, we can all get together, do stuff and things. But now that we're home, he still doesn't see her that much. The mom makes things difficult. She's pretty accusatory and he's kind of scared of getting accused of neglect and abuse and things like that. So he's definitely see him backing off.
And what's your relationship like with those kids?
The older 2 kids despise me. They hate me. They've made it clear to me and to their father that they will never have a relationship with me. They don't want anything to do with me. They made sure to get my ex involved. And then things went really hell in a handbasket. Then it just got so much worse. And the younger one, she doesn't have, I don't think she's 10, and I don't think she has any problem with me. But because there's so much animosity from everyone, like the two bio moms pretty much team up. They have kind of teamed up against me now. So there's a lot of drama, and there's just a lot of attacking. And so I disengage. It keeps the target off of me if I do it that way. And it just kind of helps me stay sane while I also deal with the alienation on my biological children's side. And now I deal with it on the step side. So
why do you think the kids have that feeling toward you? Was it because you came into the relationship a particular way, or that's just your existence just
Yeah, well, I think their mom and dad had been divorced for, I think, about 10 years, but they would try to get back together constantly, and then that wouldn't work. But I think that they kind of felt like that was the natural cycle of things, that's how things should stay between mom and dad, just kind of back and forth. And also dad very, 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 very much, how do I say this? Just gave them whatever they wanted. Mm-hmm. They were just handed everything. And so I think once him and I were in a relationship, and then he kind of started putting some energy and focus into a relationship, and we would do things or take a trip or something, it took away from what they were wanting. And they didn't like that.
So to a degree, you represented finality between their mom and dad. It was no longer a possibility that they're going to get back together or play this yo-yo game anymore.
Yeah. I think that for sure. And they will say, no, we don't want mom and dad back together because it was so bad. But at the same time, neither, dad definitely can't move on. Mom moves on multiple times. Dad just wasn't allowed to.
It's weird how that happens.
We see that all the time.
Yeah.
It's strange. It's so strange.
Yeah, mom can have 45 boyfriends, be married 17 times, but when dad gets into a serious relationship, all crap just hits the fan.
Speaking of Idaho.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, I know. I'm right down the road.
I should have got my ex a shirt that said Idaho.
David. Oh, Lord, help my soul. Well, how did your ex get involved with the stepkids or the bio moms?
So the older two children facilitated that. Just took a little social media research, and because I at the time, I was doing everything I can to keep that part of my life very separate. It was already painful and difficult. And, it's not something that right away I'm just going to say, hey, here's everything. Here's all my stuff. It makes me feel terrible. So, and I do believe that there was an invasion of my privacy in the home by going through mail, documents, papers, files, things like that, to find people's names and addresses and that kind of stuff. And, so that's how they got involved, which got the first bio mom involved, the mom of the older kids. And then everybody was just texting each other, and then people that we don't even know who have never identified themselves, or texting my husband and all these horrible things about me and how I'm so dangerous, and, that he needs to be careful, and I've been to jail and I'm a criminal, and just all this. And then it just never stopped.
Man.
Yeah.
So how did your husband feel about that? I know if it would have been my kids that had drummed up Lori's ex, I would be not very happy with what my kids were doing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that inside it definitely hurt him, and he was disappointed, and he was definitely angry about that. He was not ready to show that he was displeased with them. And it was a lot easier to be displeased with me and make this my problem, not their problem. So that's actually that type of that behavior and that looking at things and how I was treated is what led me to you guys and your group and this method. And this is kind of what, this is how I got into this, to figure out how to save myself But, do I have to walk away from this man that I love very, 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 very much? I didn't want to do that, but how will I keep my sanity? So, and I know it bothers him. And I think now, obviously hindsight is so clear. Now he sees the damage.
Right. So let's talk about that a little bit, where I'm assuming you're probably Googling some, step family help stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
You run across Nacho Kids.
Yep.
What was it that resonated with you?
One, just the idea that I did not have to take on all of this, all of this anger or the mistreatment or, any false accusations, the disrespect. I did not have to take that on, that this was not actually a situation that was speaking about me so much as about a family dynamic that I entered into knowing nothing about, but that I could still keep my sanity and keep my head above water and still move forward with my relationship with my husband. I wanted to be able to do both of those things. I still wanted to maintain my own control and still keep having joy in my life. I was not going to give that up now that I found it, and then not have to engage with those things and participate back.
Right.
And I will say, I very much wanted to be a part of their lives. I do want to say that. I wanted to be a part of their lives, the older kids and the little one. I was very excited about it, actually, being alienated from my children. I was very excited about the opportunity to maybe get to know some kids and not be their mother, but just to be in their lives, to be a participant in their lives. I was looking forward to that. I have been accused in other support groups for step families. I'm just trying to replace my children, that I'm alienated from my children. So now I'm just trying to replace them. And you're just doing this all wrong. You went about it. You don't even need to be with a man who has kids, and a lot of hurtful stuff, because that wasn't the case at all. But I very much wanted to be a part of their lives. And I did everything I could to stay away. I wouldn't be in the house very much. I wouldn't be around very much because there was just so much attacking and I couldn't deal with it. But to keep it peaceful, I just made sure I would just leave a lot and try to go out of my way to do things and to be kind and be there and do things for the little one and engage. But I noticed that if there were issues, my husband, before we were ever engaged, it was very much, well, you just hate my kids. You just hate my kids. And this is just all just a bad deal. It's just a bad deal. It's not going to work out. And that was difficult. It was difficult to figure out, okay, so am I bad? Is it me? Am I doing something wrong? What am I doing wrong? I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. And everyone kind of being against you. Plus, I'm in a new place. I don't know anybody. I don't have friends here. I don't have family here. So it was a lot of ganging up. I never wanted it to go this way. But at this point, it had to become about survival at some point.
Yeah. So does your husband have contact with the older stepkids at all?
Yeah. His two older ones. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So he's not blaming you for my kids never come see me because of you.
I think for some time, I think he did. And I don't think he will admit that, but I think he did. There would be little times where if he was angry, things slip out in anger. And sometimes it's the truth coming out. And I do think that at times he did blame me, but that has kind of turned around now. I think because I've been doing this Nacho now 2 years now, and because I have disengaged so much, there's just no way to blame me. I'm not in the phone conversations. I'm not involved in any parenting, discipline, choices, decisions. I'm involved in nothing. There's just no way to blame me now. So I think that has shed light on where the issues are.
Yeah. And that makes sense because once you remove yourself so much from the situation, they can't blame you.
Yeah. Right. That's where that's how I stand with it today is, for me, that's what keeps me safe. It keeps me accountable. I'm still in my marriage and I love him and I want to support him. And I they can't pin anything on me because I'm just not a part of any of it.
Sorry. Now that he's not traveling as much, what does his court order say about his visitation with the stepdaughter, the youngest one?
The little one.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't have a set schedule because of how work has always been for him for the last 23 years is always away. There really was never a set schedule. So when he comes to town or he gets to be home for a month or two or a couple weeks, it's just, hey, I'm back in town and can I pick her up from school? I'm going to take her. We're going to go to the mountains, or we're going to go camp, or I'm going to get her for the weekend, and that's just how it goes. And they just roll with it real easy like that. That's until I came along. Then it didn't roll easy anymore. Then it was conflict and resistance.
It probably has nothing to do with your past. It's just he's with somebody else and the ex doesn't like it.
Yeah. And the little one, that biological mom, they weren't in a relationship. It just happened like that.
Surprise.
So, yeah. Yeah. But she also could get whatever she wanted as well before I showed up. So once I showed up, then the two baby moms who used to not like each other at all, they are now very, very good friends because they have a common enemy, and that's me.
Right.
So
look at you bringing people together.
I know. That's what I told them. I said, look at me. I was able to unite the mother of your older and the mother of the little one and make them be friends. So I have done some good in this world, making everybody's relationships better.
There you go. And you're making the stepkids' relationships better with their parents, and you're just spreading joy all over the United States.
I am just doing what I can do.
Man, I tell you what, you have definitely been through it. And do you feel like by your going through the alienation thing that you're able to help your husband if he starts feeling that way?
I think I at least I can genuinely say to him, I understand. I can relate when your kids are pulling away. That was what was very hard, is that in order to get me out of the picture, the strategy was, well, we will just make dad so miserable, he's going to get rid of her. And then everything go back to normal. Well, it didn't happen that way, but it was painful to watch him be hurt because they were pulling away, because they have been always so close and had such a fun time together. And that was hard to see. And of course it's going to look like, hey, you just showed up and now my kids don't want to be with me, so it's got to be your fault.
Right.
And, so it was like, I had to be delicate, because at the same time that I refused to absorb your negative assumptions about me or whatever you're going to put on me that doesn't have anything to do with me, I'm not going to absorb that. But I will always be compassionate with you. I will always want to comfort you. And if there's anything I can do just to make you feel better, because I know, then I will do that. So it's hard for me. And then sometimes when, in the beginning, especially when he was still really angry and still very, very much blaming me, it was hard because he would say things like the kids, they weren't coming around as much and stuff. They still all lived here, but they weren't coming around. They weren't spending the time together. And he was really upset about it and how much he loves, being with his kids. And he was kind of angry that day. And I'm like, I know you love being with your kids. Like, I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to answer it. And he says, well, I don't tell you not to spend time with your kids. And you cannot unring a bell.
Right.
I can tell you that. You cannot unring a bell is out there. And I know, I saw it in his face as soon as he said it. It was, I just did a bad thing. I just said a bad thing. And that definitely drove a wedge.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's my most vulnerable thing. And you're attacking me when I haven't done anything to cause this. And you're using the most painful thing against me. So that's when I knew I got to figure out a way to navigate this where I'm not getting involved in their drama and I'm letting them handle it and protecting myself too.
Yeah. That is so hard. Hurt people. And he was hurting and he lashed out at you. How long has it been since you've seen the stepdaughter? The youngest?
The youngest, she was just here last weekend or weekend before. I'm not positive. It was right after Christmas. She was with her mom and their family for Christmas. And then they had like a dinner or something to do. So then after that, she came over here to be with him and he had presents for her and stuff like that. And they went bowling and did their things. So she was here within the last 10 days. She was over here.
But you don't interact much with her.
No, I don't. Last year, I tried to put on a birthday party for her. They had a birthday party, her mom did. And so we wanted to have a party, and we have a nice big yard. I was going to get a bouncy house and just, get some little friends or little cousins or whoever, just come have a good time, have a nice little party. And I really got attacked for that pretty hard. And so that's when I knew, okay, I'm trying to engage, but it's not working. It's not working. They're still coming after me. So I got to pull back again.
Yeah. And that's sad because it sounds like you would have a decent relationship with the younger one given the chance.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah. And we have, in the beginning, before the older kids and their mother got my ex involved, the little one and I, when she would be here, we would do stuff. We would go shopping, take her to lunch, we'd play, we'd color, run outside. We used to have little camping parties in the yard and things, when she was here, and just had a fun time. And then that changed, when once my ex became obviously a player in all of this, then it changed everything.
Yeah. And I really hate that you were treated that way in Facebook groups with people saying you were just trying to replace your kids. People are downright hateful.
Yeah, I left a couple groups after that, because I don't think people understand how bad words can break you. And especially after doing so much work and healing. And honestly, people hurt you and say things like that and attacking me like that. But every day I have to wake up and make the choice that today I'm not going to let this destroy me. Every morning, the first thing I think of is I still haven't heard my kids' voices. I don't even know what my littlest girl sounds like anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know what their faces look like. I don't know anything about school or, my older one, if she's working or going to college, or what her friends are like, or what my little one is. She's still into art and writing and things. And what is she doing? I don't know. Will I go to bed again tonight? Another day where that's the same reality for me. Not knowing, not seeing them. I sent them Easter cards. And I got threatened they were going to report me to the cops for harassment. And then the stepmother took a picture of my card and a little sticky note next to it in my little daughter's handwriting. It said, "Look at this crap." And she sent me the picture.
Your daughter wrote, "Look at this crap."
Mm-hmm.
She may not even know why she was writing it, though.
Yeah. The stepmom emailed it to me.
I am so sorry.
There's a special place in hell for people like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for those people that are attacking you in Facebook groups, because you know what? They don't know these people that they're talking to. They just want to spew their opinions out, and they could actually cause somebody to end their life by their stupid comment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh, yes. So I battled that while I was married to my ex. I battled it in childhood. I had a lot of depression and things, and I dealt with it a lot with my ex. And I made some attempts and stuff like that. Puts me right back in a very, 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 very dark place. Like, I am not worthless. I've messed up beyond repair is how it makes you feel. You're too far gone, Linda. You cannot do anything now. You have to accept that you're bad, and that's it. That is it. But I don't want to accept that. I'm not ready to.
It's not
take
true.
That. Yeah. And I have to remind myself of that. I really do. I have to make a conscious choice to tell myself those things. I have to tell myself, you're not bad. You're not being bad. You're not out here hurting people. You are hurt. You are trying. There have been mistakes, and you're doing the best you can with what you have.
Right. And you're still fighting for your kids the best you can.
Yeah.
Well, my hope is that, among other things, that what you've going through and what you've gone through will work out to where you can help somebody else.
That's exactly what I want.
There's a purpose, I hope, beyond what you know now.
Yeah. To
why you have to endure all this. And if nothing else, everybody listening to this podcast, quit your belly aching. At least you didn't have to go through all this. I mean, I know some people have other things, but it's easy to get wrapped up in how your life is and all these challenges you're going through. But when you hear somebody that's like, dude, I've gone through so much, it makes me look in the mirror and go, just shut up. I don't have anything I can complain about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I do hope. I've always been, so I was an English teacher, and I was into theater and all those things. And I've always just thought, I got to figure out a way to reach people, to share this, because it is a sad story, but it's also a victory. There's victory in this because it didn't destroy me. It didn't kill me. It didn't break me. Yes, it hurt me, and it continues to hurt me, but I have not lost yet. I have not lost. I have the next hour. I can write an email, or I can, write or start a blog, or I can be there for a friend, or what. I can still do things that are valuable with this story, and I can make this about overcoming and not just letting all of this, take you down.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you never know the caliber of a person until things are going badly.
Yeah,
anybody
that's
can
very
be
true.
Anybody can be great when things are good, but when things go to crap, you realize who you actually are.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You are tested. Your friendships are tested. Your relationships are tested. And you really see what you're made of in other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
There's a book, has nothing to do with step families, but it's called The Pumpkin Plan.
Mm-hmm.
It's a business book about trimming some of your business clients off that aren't as good so that you can continue to grow your business.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring it up to say that when things like this happen, oftentimes you have to trim things out of your life so that you can grow.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I agree. It is scary, and it can make you uncomfortable.
But you can't grow if you're comfortable.
Exactly. Growth doesn't happen under, the most perfect, comfy, cozy conditions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Growth happens under pressure. And so that's what I focus on, is just to keep growing. And if the day ever comes that, I get a phone call or a text message or email, and it's one of my kids, and they say, "Mom, we would like to try to have a relationship with you. I want to be the best possible mom, the best Linda, the best human I can be when I go into that."
Right. Yeah.
For them.
Yeah. The last thing you want is for them to finally reach out, and then you're like all busted up.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
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 This was a bad idea.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know that there's pain on their part, and they know there's pain on my part. We all know that, but I would just want to come at it from one, I'm older, I have more experience, I'm your mother, just all of these things, but just a place of healed hurt, not just fresh open wounds that I haven't tended to, but just wounds that I've really worked at healing, so that, when if we ever do reunite, I'm in a really good, healthy place for them. They can talk to me or ask me questions, or that they'll feel a little tiny spark of hope.
Mm-hmm.
That, okay, maybe we can do this with Mom.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
I'm sure there are multitudes of people somewhere that will hear your story and be
And you
inspired.
just gave them hope.
Yeah.
I truly hope so. I really hope so. And I hope if anybody is listening to this, the perspective of a parent who has been targeted, if you are alienated from your children, you have to acknowledge your pain. It's completely valid, and just keep working on yourself and holding that little bit of faith that maybe one day, and that day needs to be a good, healthy day.
Yes. You're so right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You're our inspiration, Linda.
Oh, thank you. You guys are
Make
sweet.
me
Thank
sing
you
the
so
Chicago
much.
song.
Oh gosh. That song was written for you, Linda.
Thank you. Well, you guys have helped me a lot. You helped me, on this end, on the blending end, it helps me a lot. This new perspective in the way I engage or not engage, or just how I look at things, or not taking it all personally, that really helps me. And so that frees up some of that strength and energy, so I can then continue to heal and grow on the alienated parent side, so that I can keep my head above water on that end. Yeah. So the tools for the blending part helps me here with the blend or the lack of the blend, but it allows me to still have energy inside of me to keep my other battle going and fighting for my children.
There you go.
Well, Linda, keep telling your story. You're going to be an inspiration to people, if not a motivational speaker, just telling your story.
I would love to.
And,
Thank you.
and never think that your story gets old either, because I know people that have told the same story for a decade.
Look at Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
He talks about the same
Yes.
turkey every time.
Yeah. And so, and I know even for us, we have a story, and I've said before that the fact that we can put a purpose on our pain makes it worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely.
But I even have to kind of remind myself sometimes that when I'm telling our story, don't just skip through it, because I've heard it a million times doesn't mean somebody else has.
Right.
And
That's right.
And every little detail helps somebody. And so I have
Yes.
to slow down and tell the story in as much detail as possible, because the further I get away from the pain, the less I talk about it, but I need to talk about it for somebody else's sake.
Yep. Good.
That's right.
Good point.
That's right. I totally agree with that. Absolutely.
Well, Linda, we cannot thank you enough for being a guest on our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciated this opportunity.
Yep.
We wish you the best, and we look forward to the day that you are a guest and tell us that you have reunited with your kids.
Yep.
I look forward to that.
And if you ever get in that car with your little hand going in the wind again, and you find yourself at the top part of South Carolina, look us up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Linda, thanks.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
My heart hurts for what Linda has been through.
Mm-hmm.
To go to your own daughter's graduation and the cops be called on you.
Yeah, just for being there.
I think this is a trigger for me, though, because of what my own sister experienced.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Part of me would want to sit there and go, I got an invitation. I mean, what did you expect me to do?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like she made the best out of that 9 minutes that she could.
Yeah, it's one of those things where all of it was worth 9 minutes. We've talked about this before in our family, how, we'll drive 3 hours to see our kid for 10 minutes if we had to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I think, her going through everything that she went through to see that and to get to speak to her daughter was, I'm hoping, well worth it. And I hope her daughter at some point tries to find her or reaches out to her.
Yeah.
But it's, it's got to be a bit nerve-wracking to know that you can't necessarily find her, or it's going to be harder, let's say. It'd be harder for her to find the daughter because she's been blocked through so many different channels and all that kind of stuff.
And I think that if she's able to re-engage, basically, with the oldest daughter, that would help her also with the youngest daughter or the younger daughter.
Yeah, I'm sure. But the other thing that kind of shocked me in a good way was how resilient Linda is through all this, because it's more than just the alienation piece. I mean, she's homeless, living out of a car, don't have a job. I mean, you would think somebody had lost all hope and would just give up, completely give up.
I mean, she says that she had those thoughts, but it was the thought of her daughters that kept pushing her forward.
Yep. But yeah, it's just terrible. It's terrible that another person, especially somebody that you apparently loved enough at some point to have kids with, that would treat you that way. Yeah.
I read something the other day that said, if you ever wonder what kind of person you married, you'll find out when you get in the courtroom.
Yeah. I think that some people have the ability to hate as strongly as they love. So my point being that sometimes you get a hold of somebody that, just loves you like crazy, and you can't imagine there being any more love possibly given to you. Just be careful, because those people oftentimes can be the ones that can hate you equally. So it just depends on the side of the coin you're on.
True that, David. True that.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate. Very, very few people can look objectively at what's going on in a divorce or something like that. And that's typically because of either what's happened in the past, or somebody that feels like this is a thing that somebody has to win. There's no winners.
No. Please don't take me down that road. Not today, Satan. Not today.
But anyway, I wish Linda well, and honestly, and I said this at the end of the recording, but I'll say it again. If you're having a bad day, or you think you're life is bad, bookmark this one and listen to it again, because I know as bad as we had it, it never got that bad.
And she still hasn't given up, y'all.
No. And it's not like she's through it. Like you and I can sit here and go, we've made it past so much that anything else that comes at us, we're not too worried about. But she's still not there.
Well, Linda, if you're listening to this, you are awesome, girl.
Yep.
We are so proud of you. And you are an inspiration to all of us to get up and keep fighting for what we believe in.
Amen.
Amen, brother. All right. Don't forget, we are going to be in Fort Worth, Texas in April with Laura Petherbridge. Find out more at www.laurapetherbridge.com/events.
That's right. And we'll be in Lake Lure, North Carolina this weekend. So if you can find us and do so before you hear this recording, I will buy you a drink.
Sounds good.
All right, folks. That is our show for today. Thanks for listening. And remember that life is good
when you nacho.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nacho Kids Podcast. Find us online at nachokids.com. Until next time, remember, life is good when you nacho.